Hey there, fellow nostalgia buffs. Welcome back. David Eon and the incredibly intelligent Miss Lady Pop Hunter here with a discussion to share with those of you who are into pop culture, into nostalgia, into the kind of things that we normally talk about and do in this channel. And today's topic is Halloween, and it's the first in this series that we're kind of doing of talking about things that are fading away. Pop culture, iconic things that are fading away, disappearing from culture, and probably never going to come back. And the subject today is naturally Halloween, because it's almost the 31st. You know, some kids may be going door to door. It's a deep-rooted holiday. It started off as Samhain, had pagan roots, has gone through changes over the years. The Irish brought it to the United States, but it was more of a hell night. And in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the beginning of the 20th century, it was a huge problem in the United States to have people starting bonfires and breaking windows and robbing people and tipping cows and just, seriously, tipping over people's outhouses and causing all kinds of mischief, especially when a lot of minors were involved. So they started coming up with things, and actually the Boy Scouts were instrumental in coming up with the idea of hosting Halloween parties. Okay, let's get everybody in one place so they're not running the streets. And then the concept of like a parade, we'll give away candy at a parade, started. And I forget what state it was. It was one state that did it first. And, you know, we're still back in the 30s here. And you can find costumes, you know, the old like Ben Cooper style mask and a vinyl crappy costume in a box. They have stuff dating back to the 30s that looks like that.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen them. They're rare to find them. But getting the people away from running around causing mischief and going door to door, trick-or-treating, basically begging for food. But going door to door trick-or-treating, but it paid off, and it became like a childhood staple. This is something that kids did, something that kids looked forward to. Hey, it's our little holiday. We go out, hey, we get a big bag of candy, wear a costume, maybe go to a party, it'll be fun, whatever. I don't have a lot of personal experience with that. I was not allowed to go trick-or-treating. It wasn't a religious thing, it was a mean thing. It's a long story. But basically, I wasn't good, so I wasn't allowed to go. End of story. But most kids did, and I remember this being a big thing growing up. And then because I couldn't, I kind of compensated by making it a big production for my kids. My oldest, we'd be out for like 5 hours.
Wow.
He wanted to. He was into it, and it was oceans of kids in the 90s. There was kids everywhere, packs and packs of them, and you know, parents would be watching them and whatever. And he would have like shopping bags loaded with candy, because I would empty his bag out and then let him go again and just leave a couple of pieces in there. People think he just got started. And he'd have sacks and sacks of like grocery bags basically loaded with candy that we would end up finally going home with when it got too late to keep going. It just wasn't realistic. And then my second son did it with him, but even by that time in the getting to late 90s, it just wasn't as big. It wasn't as big. And I remember taking my sister. I wasn't allowed to go, but my younger sister was. Don't get me going. But it was a massive, huge production in the 80s, even the late 80s, taking my sister and doing trick-or-treating for her. And then by the time I had my third son, my youngest, and this is, you know, we're talking in the 2000s now, like just even 2010, trying to go trick-or-treating or whatever, there's no interest. People didn't care, you know, and even he didn't care. And neither did the kids. You walk around, not even 40 minutes have gone by. We going home yet? You know, the kids didn't care. They didn't want to go. And it's been broken up because you got the malls some of them participate. Not all the stores do it, but they get the mall thing where you go around and you collect some candy. And it doesn't amount to much if you've ever done that at the malls. Not that I've seen. trunk or treat, which, is the church trying to still do the holiday but pretend like they're not. And that's another topic of discussion entirely, because it's still Halloween and it's still evil if you think it is, and you're, skirting the line there. But they just didn't seem interested even then.
Yeah.
And then it was basically canceled last year. And this is something that retailers aren't trying to let go of, because it's a huge holiday, financially speaking. You have Christmas, and then I think Halloween is like second for retail, behind Christmas.
Oh, it's like Mother's Day. But I mean, with the nostalgia, when you were a kid, you looked at your costumes and you went and you picked out a costume, and you got the costumes, you got the little, you were hoping. We had grocery bags, like plastic bags. But some people had the pail. And you remember the pumpkin
From
pail?
McDonald's
Yeah.
Ghost, Pumpkin, and Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had the pail. And we always wanted costumes. And me and my cousin, we were close to the same age. We were like a year apart. And we would get one costume. And one year she would wear the mask and I would wear the outfit. And then the next year we'll switch out. And with our neighborhood, the neighborhood that I lived in, I live in a small town, but we walked the whole thing and we had it mapped out. And the goal is, in the town is divided in like two sections with a school in the middle. So you got like one half, a big like wooded area, the school, and then the second half of the neighborhood. And our goal was always to hit both sides of the neighborhood. But walking, you was not going to do it. And we knew we weren't going to do it by walking. My older cousins, they had bikes. So they could hit both sides because they had the bikes and they rode the bikes. But we walked, and it was miles and miles going door to door. And we knew which houses gave the best candy. And we always try to make sure we got to that house. And it was just fun. I didn't go every year because my mom saw it as very evil, very demonic. It was religious with her, super, super religious with her. But every couple years I would get to go. And I always had fun and I always liked it. And then as I got older and I started going to church more, then you start doing the Harvest Festival at church, where you get to the church, and I understood it, what they were doing.
Sure.
I did understand it. Now that I'm older, I realize that you still shouldn't, but I understood what was going on and why. And some churches did more than others. They had games. They gave the kids candy, and did all kinds of stuff like that. And then they turned it into trunk or treat.
Yeah.
And I knew a guy I worked with. Where they did trunk or treat, every car would decorate. Decorate the car, and he would decorate and go all out. And he would bring pictures in and show us. And it was the mall, like you talked about.
Yeah.
The mall started doing it, and then it became earlier and earlier. And I lived in a neighborhood in Georgia, and what they did is they had everybody in the neighborhood bring the candy to one location. They had like a cul-de-sac in the neighborhood. And they wanted the kids to come there so they won't walk around going door to door. But I just turn the lights off now.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And I don't
Shut
do
the lights off
anything.
and duck. But nobody comes anyway.
Nobody comes around.
anymore. No one rings the bell. No one knocks anymore. It's just kind of gone, and the decorations are fading away too. Some people still do it.
Yeah.
But most people don't bother anymore. Most people no longer bother. They don't set up the Halloween decorations anymore. They probably don't want anybody coming, or don't think they will, or they're just tired of it too.
And haunted houses are fading away. Because I remember I always wanted to go to a haunted house. And I remember always seeing it advertised. But you don't really see that anymore. But in our area where we currently live, we pass a subdivision. And it has a sign saying haunted house.
Yeah.
You know.
We didn't look.
We didn't look.
You're curious.
But it's in a neighborhood, so it got to be somebody's house. But the haunted houses I was talking about, where you have those big
professionally done.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to go to one of those, and I just never have. But, yeah, the whole Halloween thing, I think, is dying out. You don't see it. It's not as... kids don't look forward to it, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I don't think kids look forward to it like they used to. You don't have the cartoons. Every year you used to have
That's true.
Halloween cartoons, the commercials.
Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
The Great Pumpkin.
Yeah, a bunch
Classic.
of different stuff, but you don't even get that anymore.
Yeah, it seems like Halloween now, it's like people just want to stay home and watch slasher films, which aren't even horror films. They're slasher films. It's gore porn.
Yeah.
It's not, it all looks the same. It's like, where's the plot? I don't know.
You see how many people we could kill and how much blood we could splash everywhere.
And then it's kind of evil anyway because there's no retribution. The person who's responsible manages to get away with it at the end of the film. And that's something I never liked about a lot of that stuff. That they weren't punished, they weren't stopped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There should be an end to it, but it's just kind of disappearing, and it's not a safety issue because some people will argue, oh well, there was concerns about like razor blades and apples and things like that. I only ever heard of that happening one time in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they emphasized it in a couple of films. I saw that happen in a couple of movies, but it's not like something that was common. It really wasn't. Or drugging candy or anything like that was not common. But it gets blown up in the media. But most people know that's crap, and it didn't prevent people from letting their kids go out to trick or treat mostly.
Yeah. But it's just like everything else in pop culture, everything else from nostalgia. Once you introduced in the internet and video games and cell phones and all of that stuff, a lot of the things that you did, I'll say that were manual, where you had to put thought in and you had to actually go out and put forth effort, started dying to the point that it's almost dead now. And Halloween is one of them. When we get closer to Christmas, I'm sure we'll have another one of these. That's dying out.
Yeah, Christmas is going.
Just a lot of the things that you used to do that you had to put thought and effort and put forth thought and effort are just dying away because people don't want to think. They don't want to put forth any form of effort. If I have to do something, I don't want to do it. Yeah, and that's where we are.
Technology's kind of robbing us of that.
Yeah.
The convenience of it is sometimes too convenient, and all of these skills that man has spent thousands of years developing are turning into these obscure hobbies that almost nobody does. And if that technology ever went away, we'd be in a lot of trouble because nobody would know how to do anything anymore. And there's what was it? The new Outer Limits, the 80s version of the Outer Limits. I forget the name of the episode, but there was this one episode, and it kind of predicted where we are now with cell phones, where everybody had an implant in their head. And maybe somebody has seen this episode and they can tell us the name of it. Everyone had an implant, and it was like Google. And so basically, they could see, like, or listen to instructions. So if they wanted to know anything, they would just say, hey, whatever, how do I do this, or where do I go to do this, or, whatever. And it would just tell them, and they just follow the directions. And there was one guy, he was allergic to the implant, and he couldn't get it. And they all picked on him and made fun of him. You're a loser or whatever. And so he'd just sit there quietly and read books all day, and he ignored everybody. He was a recluse. And then something happened, and the net crashed globally, and no one knew how to put it back up because no one knew how to do anything without just getting direct input instructions. Kind of like when you're driving and you have the map. What is it, MapQuest or whatever they call it now? Because no one reads a map anymore. They just follow the directions that from the GPS. And even though they'll go the same way every day and listen to the directions every day, they don't look for landmarks or any of the stuff we used to do. So without it, they don't know where they're going, even though they've traveled that way 20, 30 times. And so basically it crashed. He was the only one that knew anything, and the whole rest of the planet was basically helpless. And that's kind of like where we're headed with the technology. And I know it's a different topic of discussion, but it kind of ties in with this because most of these kids, they don't want to walk for miles to get candy. They'll just, Mom, Dad, buy me a bag of candy. And
they still sell the stuff in the stores, because if you go to Walmart,
it's
tons of costumes, and
not as much as they used to be.
No, it's still a lot of costumes. It's aisles and aisles of candy and stuff like that. So the manufacturers and the retailers are still putting out the product, but I don't know that it's selling like it used to.
And everybody knows. I mean, most people, if they're not buying it for its intended purpose anymore, they know that the next day it's going to be half off. 75% off.
Because, you like those bags of candy, the little tiny things and whatever you can snack on and all of that. So, I don't know.
And I think it used to be an exciting thing for kids to look forward to. Like I said, not in my own personal experience, just through my own children vicariously, if you will. Because I wasn't allowed to go, but I did understand the premise. Kids were hyped for it in school, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this costume, and I'm gonna go out for like X number of hours, and I'm gonna go to this great neighborhood and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, great.
And that's what we did. Because everybody in my school, we all lived in the same neighborhood, because it was a school in that tiny little neighborhood, and so, you was like, yeah, I'm going to try and get to your house. And, your mom sells, gives out good stuff and all of that.
And excited for the possible variety. What am I going to get? What's the mix going to look like?
Yeah. And we had one lady. Her name was Miss Brown. She gave Butterfingers. The whole bar.
Uh-oh.
Not the little. So everybody tried to get to her house. Because she didn't give you like a one. She gave you like she put her hand, and she was a big lady, and she would put her whole hand in there and just grab. And it was Butterfingers, Twix, Kit Kat. She had the good candy. But she would stick her whole hand in there like
not the
this.
Walmart variety pack.
No, she had that, and I don't even know. I don't think it had to be, because you had the little tiny minis, and you had Tootsie Rolls, but some people would give out that church candy, like peppermint and butterscotch, that kind of
the little
stuff.
suck-on candies.
Yeah, the one you
the
take
little
to church.
dum-dum pops, and they're like that big on the stick.
You get that a lot, and the Tootsie Roll pops, I like that. But I mean, you look forward to it. You knew what kind of candy was out there.
Root beer barrels.
Yeah, and you look forward to it, and you tried to get there. One lady in the neighborhood, I can't remember who it was. She used to bake cookies and brownies.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's
but
cool.
You had to get to her house like quick. Because she would make cookies and brownies, and you would get like one cookie and one brownie.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so you knew where to go. And, you were like, oh, man, I got there. And then you would see your friends as you walk by. And the older kids would try to grab your bag from you, snatch your bag. Because they would be on bikes. and it would ride up on you and try to snatch your bag from you. So we always had plans on how to not
The
get out
Halloween
of bed.
adventure.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun for us as kids.
Yeah.
Again, we had a plan and we knew where we were going. We had some older adults would go with us just to be with you out, because you couldn't go out by yourself, and
Sure.
we all just walked, and we didn't even care. You didn't even know how far you walked. You just know, okay, we got to go all of these places, and you never got tired.
Yeah, kids today don't want to walk anywhere.
No.
They don't want to walk anywhere. They don't want to go outside. They're going to sit home and play Xbox or something.
Yeah,
or
video games.
PlayStation 45 or whatever's out now. And don't want to think, don't want to put in any effort.
Yeah.
And I think the culture has failed these kids. And, that's a generational curse, because what are their kids going to learn, and what are their kids going to learn? It's going to get worse.
What are you going to look forward to?
Yeah.
Your kids, what are they going to look forward to? Your grandkids, what are they going to look forward to? Because, excuse me, everything is going away. Everything is dying off. So what are you going to have to pass on?
Yeah.
And
that's unfortunate. And I gotta wonder, the people who might be watching this, do you have kids? Are they gonna be going trick-or-treating? Are you trying to encourage them to do so? Do they seem not nearly as interested as you were as children? Mm-hmm. Because that's the impression that I seem to get. That's the impression that I get. That's what I've seen. And I've watched it get, again, have less and less interest over the years, and it seems like I said, now it's like Halloween. Oh, I'm just gonna stay up all night and watch like slasher films. I'll watch all like 74 films of Michael Myers, or however many there are now. I don't even know. Jason Part 75. Jaws 26.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell's going on. And it's the same film over and over again, it seems to me. I don't know. But I was never really into that anyway.
I used to love horror films.
Yeah.
I got
like
out of them.
If it's like The Shining or something.
Something
with some plot.
Yeah. I like it. Now, I don't watch the newer stuff because it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. Well, we love the nostalgia anyway. We like the old school pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
And the newer stuff, a lot of it just doesn't seem to appeal.
Yeah, it's all raunchy and just disgusting, and it's like, and then it seems like every movie nowadays that come on is classified as a horror. And it's like, can you make anything else?
No. No, they can't.
So, and then it's not good. It's not a good plot, or it's a rehashed plot. So.
Yeah, you watched enough of the older stuff, you recognize a lot of plots and storylines and new stuff, and you're like, that's been done.
Yeah.
Geez.
And then they just gore it up a little more.
Creatively bankrupt.
Yeah.
Creatively bankrupt. And there's so much material out there. They don't need to do that. But whatever. Anyway, again, guys, do you have kids? Are they interested at all? If you're taking them out trick-or-treating, is it because they want to, or because you're just trying to encourage them to live the experience?
Or you might be, because I know, like, for me, we don't have kids together, but if we did, I don't think I would want them to. I mean, I done grew out, and I got a deeper understanding now of what Halloween is and the meaning behind it. And I wouldn't want to introduce that.
And when we have a kid, there might not be a Halloween anymore.
And I wouldn't teach them, Halloween. But I'm almost sure I wouldn't encourage it or even, like, acknowledge it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you got that, too, that you contend with. Have you grown out of it and got a different outlook now? Because when we were kids, to us, it was innocent. Oh, we're just going out to get candy.
Sure.
But it's still something underlining there, and you don't want to connect yourself to. But as a kid, you didn't know, so you
Ignorance
just
is
thought,
bliss.
yeah. But once you come to the knowledge, then that's yeah,
Or what's the other expression? With great knowledge comes great misery.
yeah.
Sometimes.
Hmm.
And I just wonder, and like I said again, Halloween is a huge money making holiday. It's like one of the top three easily.
Yeah.
Not Christmas is number one, obviously, but it's one of the top three. And the retailers, manufacturers, and markets, big box stores and supermarkets, they don't want to let that go that easy.
Yeah.
They don't want to let it go that easy, even though they've seen a steady decline in their yearly sales, especially last year. Just made it easier.
Yeah.
Just made it easier.
Yeah.
So I wonder, has anyone else noticed this? Again, I put it to the viewers. Have you noticed it fading away? Do you think it'll just disappear forever, anytime soon, or in the near future, whether it be 5 years or 50? You know, if you have children, are they interested in it, or are they just like whatever, or maybe they're just interested in going to a party and they're like, hey, go door to door, big man, or whatever. Tell us about it. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comment section down below and get the discussion going. And also look for more of these as we talk about other things that have faded, that are fading, or have already faded away.
Totally
and
faded.
there are things from our culture, from our time period, that are just gone, that are literally gone. So we will be doing more of these. And if you have any suggestions for a future discussion on that line, then you can post that in the comment section down below as well. So if that's it, then what more can I say? Please do give the video a thumbs up, by the way. Easiest way to show your appreciation. And what more can I say but stay tuned, folks. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.